If your job, your income, or your title disappeared tomorrow, who would you be? Hey, y'all. Welcome to MINDSHiFT Monday, where we don't just talk mindset, we shift it so that you can shift your life. I'm Robert Kennedy III, RK3, that's me, and today we're talking about what keeps you anchored when everything around you changes. Yes, welcome to the show, Milton Dodd, good to see you. Roshan Gavali, good to see you. Michael Avril, good to see you. C. Marie B, good morning. How are you doing, ma'am? Hey, y'all, if you want to join us live, text live at 240-557-8679 so that we can let you know the link and where to go for the show. Also, if you want to continue the conversation with us, we do an after show. Head on over to mindshiftmonday.com/Zoom. All right, mindshiftmonday.com/Zoom. I see you, Miss Marie is already answering questions. I would still be me. Yes. Good morning, Danny Lewis. So glad you're here. Yeah, we're going to get rocking and rolling in just a few moments, but I want to share with you something special that we have coming up.
Ready to stop being invisible and start being influential? Join us September 22nd to 24th for the Amplify Your Voice with Video 3-Day Challenge. Free to join at www.amplifyvoiceandvideo.com. In just 3 days, you'll learn why your story is your sales secret, how to shift from awkward on camera to authentic and influential, and the #1 belief blocking your video consistency. You'll also discover simple techniques to make recording easier, what to say to grab your audience, and the 3 types of videos that build trust and get leads. Plus, walk away with a weekly content plan and the system to repurpose 1 video into 5 pieces of content. It's free, but upgrade to VIP for replays, Q&A time, and more. It's time to be seen. It's time to be heard. It's time to be paid. Register today at amplifyvoiceandvideo.com.
What's going on, friends? I see you in the chat. Princess Castleberry. Oh, you are here. TL Speaks. What's going on, my friend? Let's rock and roll this morning on the MINDSHiFT Monday. Let's go. Yeah. Hey, y'all. Yes. Welcome to the MINDSHiFT Monday again. I'm your man, Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. I'm so glad I have some of my friends here this morning. TL Speaks, Princess Castleberry. So good to see you. Danny Lewis. So good to see you. Michael Avril. So good to see you. Oh, yeah. So we're talking about identity. And the problem for a lot of us is that we tie our identity to things that can change overnight. And when they do, we feel lost. I don't know if this is you. But your identity doesn't have to be fragile. It can be anchored. Eudine, good to see you this morning. So glad that you all are here. Those of you that are on already, again, I'll say it again, join me at 8 o'clock for the after show. Head on over to mindshiftmonday.com/Zoom so we can spend some time processing and rocking and rolling with this stuff. But let's jump on in. Have you ever felt like something changed in your life and you felt lost? If things changed, who would you be? Right? A lot of us, when we get asked the question, who are you? The response that we give is our job title, right? But who, let me get my camera collected right here. Okay. Yeah. But who are you? Who are you really? Is it your job? Right? A lot of us have that challenge. We answer, I'm a teacher. I'm a pastor. I'm a lawyer. right? Those are our answers. Let me share with you some thoughts really quickly. If you were growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, there was an athlete went by the name of Andre Agassi, right? And Andre Agassi was a 8-time Grand Slam champion, Australian Open, Wimbledon, US Open 2 times, French Open. He was an Olympic gold medalist, right? He won men's singles in Atlanta, 1996. He was a career Grand Slam winner. He was one of only 5 men in history to win all 4 Grand Slam tennis tournaments, right? He had the ATP, the Tennis Association world #1 ranking. He held the top spot for 101 weeks during his career. He had 60 career titles. He had singles titles across multiple surfaces, grass and clay, and he won over $30 million in his career in prize money. And he had all of these endorsements that made him one of the most recognizable athletes worldwide. He was inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame, and there was so much that happened during his tennis career. But he wrote this autobiography, and in his autobiography, he admitted a couple of things. Number one, he shared that during the early part or a lot of his tennis career, he wore a wig. Because when he was about 20 years old, his hairline began to recede, and he was embarrassed about that. Some of you might know him looking like this. After he finally came to terms and he cut off his hair, right? But the biggest thing that he admitted was that he hated tennis. He hated tennis. It was just what he did and what he knew when he grew up. But during the time that he was an athlete and playing tennis, for much of his career, he hated tennis. He didn't like tennis. And so when he retired, he struggled with his identity. He struggled with life because he associated himself, the world associated him with tennis. And it wasn't until he founded the Andre Agassi Foundation for Education, he became a philanthropist and he opened a charter school in Las Vegas, that he began to find some semblance of who he was, of who he is. And that happens to quite a few of us, right? Identity tied to titles will sink when the title shifts. Right? We tie ourselves up in the career that we have. We tie ourselves up in the job that we have. We tie ourselves up in the relationship that we have. We tie ourselves up in what people call us or what they know about us. And when that shifts, what happens? Right? A lot of people equate productivity or paychecks with their worth. But when those external things fade, they feel like they've disappeared. They feel inconsequential. And this happens with athletes a lot. After athletes retire, a lot of them struggle. They struggle big time. A lot of them go through depression. There are a lot of different mental health challenges that they walk through because so much of the early or the formative parts of their lives were tied up in this identity. But it doesn't just happen to athletes. It can happen to executives. It can happen to executives after job loss, or entrepreneurs, right here, after a business failure. Right? And athletes are the visible ones, and it happens to them in public quite often, but they're not the only ones. Let me give you another image here. This man, I don't know if you all know him just by looking at him, but his name is Howard Schultz. Howard Schultz was the former CEO and chairman of Starbucks, and he was credited with transforming the company from 11 stores in 1987 and changing it into a global brand with more than 30,000 locations worldwide. Yeah. He positioned Starbucks as more than just a coffee place, but also a community hub that shifted people between home and work. He expanded Starbucks globally. I mean, if you go to Europe, you'll see a Starbucks. If you go to Asia, you'll see a Starbucks. If you go to Africa, you'll see a Starbucks. Right? He expanded Starbucks, a local small coffee chain, into something global. And he introduced a lot of different workplace innovations, giving stock options and healthcare benefits to part-time employees. That's huge. Most organizations were not doing that. And somewhere inside of that, he found time to write best-selling books like Pour Your Heart Into It and Onward. But in 2000, he decided that he was going to retire. So he retires. And he spends a few years doing whatever he chooses. But then he says, my God, I felt restless, irrelevant, unsure of my purpose. And all of that because he didn't have the title. Right? He retired, didn't have the title, and it shifted who he thought he was. Fitzroy Bennett, good to see you, sir. So you might think that I'm just talking about people who retire or step away from something, but I'm talking to you. I'm talking to me in our current circumstance. Again, for most of us, when somebody asks us who we are, we respond with what we do. We say that I'm a teacher. We say that I'm a lawyer. We say I'm an entrepreneur. But who are you? Who, like capital, who are you? What happens when you can no longer do the things that you're used to doing? Who are you? I'm going to give you a quick definition here. Who you are is what can't be taken away, even when your circumstances change. I'll say that once more. Who you are is what can't be taken away, even when the circumstances change. And quite often, you don't find that out. Quite often, many of us don't find out our identity until we're in the midst of a storm. Yeah. When things change for you, what do you lean on? When your circumstances shift out of your control, what do you focus on? How do you balance? What's your foundation? Where do you naturally pivot? What core value do you naturally turn to? I want to share with you that your value doesn't vanish when your circumstances change. It's anchored in who you are, not what you do. I don't know about you all. I've shared with you Andre Agassi. I've shared with you Howard Schultz. I've had circumstances in my space where I felt lost because things shifted beyond my control. I've shared over and over the story of me moving from one state to the other. And 10 days after I came from the state of Massachusetts to the state of Maryland, I lost my job as an online faculty for a university. I had been teaching, I had been in the education space for 10 years. And when I lost my job, it threw me off kilter. For 10 years, when people said to me, "Hey, Robert, what do you do?" I could say, "I'm a teacher." For 10 years, when people said, "Hey, Robert, who are you?" "I am a faculty. I work in education. I'm an educator. For 10 years, that was what I said. That was one of the things that I said. For 10 years, more than 10 years, people said, hey, Robert, who are you? I'm a musician. That was one of my titles. But then 10 days after we moved from one location to the other, I lose my job. And so I do what everybody else does. I go to Monster, I go to Simply Hired, I go to Indeed, I go to all of the places, and I'm searching, I'm uploading resumes, I'm applying for jobs, but I'm not getting a hit. And to be quite frank and honest, it was doing a number on me mentally. It was challenging. It was hard. It was hard because there were several things happening in that space. One of the other titles that I held was I'm a dad. One of the other titles that I held was I'm a husband. One of the other titles that I held was, I'm supposed to be a provider. And when I was not able to fulfill all of those, I started to feel a little bit lost. I mean, I couldn't change the dad. I'm a dad, period. But I started to feel a little bit lost. So when you are in a moment like that, what do you do? After that, and this has happened more than once in my life, right? I had a business that I ran after that, and my business got to a place where it grew just a little bit too fast, and I didn't know how to manage some of the financial pieces of it and the budget pieces of it. And then the business imploded. And when the business imploded, I didn't know what to do next. And I didn't know who I was because I didn't have that title at that moment anymore. And here's the thing about titles and leaning on titles, because people call you those titles and you think in your brain that people have expectations of you based on those titles. And so when you no longer have those titles, you become ashamed to refer to yourself or to let people know that you don't have those titles anymore. That can do a number on you. It can. Yeah, David Hunt says, I'm in that space now. Yeah. Fitzroy says that happened to me when I was 2022. Yeah. Right? So when your circumstances change, what do you do? What do you do? Well, we lean into some action items every time we do this show on Monday. So I'll walk through 3 things right now. So when circumstances change for you, when you begin to doubt your identity, when you begin to swim a little bit, here's action item number 1 that I want you to lean into. Number 1, name your anchor. Name your anchor. What do I mean by that? Well, I want you to identify 3 values or qualities that define you beyond your roles. 3 values. What is a value that you have? Okay, a value that I might have is resilience. Listen, when stuff happens, when it hits the fan, when things are beyond my control, I am resilient. Nobody can take that away from me. Nobody can change that. Nobody can, even if my job is lost, even if I lose a limb, even if I lose the ability to see, even if I lose family members, even if I lose my home, my finances, whatever it is that I lose, resilience is who I am. That is a core value, a quality that I have. Nobody can take that away from me. Nobody can change that. Nobody can shift that. So I want you to identify 3 values or qualities that define you beyond roles. Being resilient might be one. Kindness. Oh, I'm kind. Creativity, faith. These are things that nobody can take from you. What is it that you have that nobody can take from you. And here's the deal inside of that, right? Quite often, the value or the quality that you have that nobody can take from you may be tied to your ability to create income or revenue. I'll say that in a soundbite or sexy way. Your resilience may be tied to your revenue. And too many of us, we're not resilient, or we take a long time to access our resilience. If you tell yourself, if you're constantly repeating to yourself that, listen, no matter what happens, whether it's beyond my control or not, I am resilient, right? I love it. Misty says, I have perseverance. I love it, right? You got to name your anchor. Don't wait till the storm hits. Name your anchor. Let's go to number 2, detach and declare. Detach yourself from the title. Detach yourself from the income. Detach yourself from the status and declare who you are. For example, I am a leader who inspires growth. Listen, nobody has to title me a leader. I'm a leader simply because I lead. I see something that needs to be done, and I know it needs to be done in a community or a group of people. I'm not going to wait for somebody to say, okay, yeah, let's all start. No, I'm going to push forward. I'm going to tell people, hey, y'all, this is how we're rolling. This is how I'm rolling. Y'all can come with me. I'm a leader who inspires growth. Or I am a person who brings light into every room that I walk into. Nobody can determine that. You could be a person, you could just say in your mind or make up in your mind, listen, every room that I step into, I'm going to smile. Every room that I step into, I'm going to bring joy into. Every room that I step into, I am going to bring optimism. It doesn't matter what is happening in that space. I am going to show up in a way that provides light and hope for everyone. Right? Detach and declare. Write an I am statement that's not tied to income, title, or status. All right, I want you to do that. So I'll repeat the first one. Name your anchor. And in that, I want you to identify 3 values or qualities that define you beyond roles. Number 2, I want you to write an I am statement that is not tied to income, title, or status. Number 3, third thing, I want you to do a daily anchor check. I want you to do a daily anchor check. Start each day by affirming one thing about yourself that can't be taken away. Every morning, remind yourself of one truth about who you are that no boss, no inbox, no income report can ever take away. If you lost your job, your income, your access, what would still be true about you? What would still be true about you if you lost everything? What is the truth about who you are? If you lost everything, would you still be resilient? If you lost everything, would you still be hopeful? If you lost everything, would you still be kind? If you lost everything, would you still be optimistic? If you lost everything, would you still be a leader? If you lost everything, would you still be? Who would you be? What is one truth about yourself? Would you still be grateful? What is one truth about yourself that you can remind yourself of every morning? All right, so name your anchor, detach and declare, and do a daily anchor check. I know some of you are into affirmations. And affirmations are great. And I want you to use and leverage those affirmations as an anchor check, a way to affirm your identity, a way to remind yourself of who you are, and it doesn't matter who's in control. Yeah. I'm looking at some of these. Oh, yeah, I love this. Misty says, I definitely bring light and joy to any space. Yes, you do. Misty says, I am strong. Yeah. Jillian Roberts says, I hear that. I love it. I love it. Hey, Jillian, how you doing? Yeah. Kendra says, your resilience is tied to your revenue. Mic drop and worth repeating. Yeah, I should bring up some of these on screen. I love it. Excellent. 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 All right. Well, listen, y'all, we are getting ready to rock and roll. Resilience is connected to revenue. Love it. Yep. Fantastic. Good morning, Agatha Irish. So glad that y'all are here this morning on MINDSHiFT Monday. Listen, y'all, are you ready to explore what anchors you? Let's talk about it in the after show. At 8 o'clock, we are going to be jumping onto Zoom so that you can chat, not just in the comments, but we can chat face to face and just unpack some of what we heard this morning. So let's lock this down. Storms reveal what you're anchored to. So I want you to make sure that your anchor is deeper than your title. In the book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, he says, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we're challenged to change ourselves. That means, ultimately, when you have no control, what do you lean on? All you have to lean on is you. And my message for you this morning is know who you are before life tests who you are. Or, if I said it another way, don't wait for chaos to discover your core. That's it this morning, my friends, for the show. Don't forget, if you want to create visibility, if you want to be heard and to amplify your voice with video, join us for the Amplify Your Voice with Video 3-Day Challenge in September. Head on over to amplifyvoiceandvideo.com to register. If you love the messages that we share every week, and want a reminder when we're live, text live to 240-557-8679. Wait, 240-557-8679. I can't read the screen. All right. Lastly, don't forget to join me on the after show to talk more about this. Head on over to mindshiftmonday.com/Zoom. Until next time, my friends, know who you are and know whose you are. Or as I always say, change your thoughts, change your world, change your story. Come on, join me in the after show. See you in a few. Peace.